What do you get when you combine two obsessive science fiction, fantasy, and horror fans? Over 100 books read between us this year, like over 150 already, and absolutely zero sense of shame when it comes to making up our own awards. You get the Sassies. At least that's what I'm randomly calling this year for our father son SFFH awards, celebrating the characters, worlds, monsters, moments, and emotional trauma that made our 2025 reading unforgettable. Buckle up. It's time to get snarky, celebratory, and just a little unhinged, perhaps.
Hi there, welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son sit down and talk about science fiction, fantasy, horror, and some other things. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. Thanks for joining us today. And I saw what you did there, son. Put those words in the order of SFFH, because that's not how we normally say it in our intro. Did you do it by accident then? You look
No, I did it
puzzled.
correctly.
Yes, you did. It was a subtle nuance that I'm giving you props for.
I'll
So
never do it again.
never again. But we're going to have some fun today here as we give out these father-son SFFH awards, the Sassies. I don't know if I love that name, but
I don't.
it came up, we're going to have a little sass. No, probably not. If you viewers are like, yeah, that name sucks, Jim, give us a better name. Because if we do this again, like it becomes an annual thing, we should have a name you're going to like.
I mean,
Well,
maybe eventually it'll turn into us giving nominees and you guys can vote on them. But
how
this
about it?
year, we're being generous. We're just giving awards to people that we're the only judges, kind
That's
of.
right. And we're shooting from the hip with whatever we thought, because we've considered 10 different categories. We've gathered our favorites for each one, and we very scientifically, meaning not
Completely
scientifically at all,
arbitrarily.
determined the most worthy contenders from everything we read, everything we listened to, which I consider reading, but I know not
I
all of you
say it
do.
counts.
Okay. And, from the stuff that we really obsessed over in 2025, some of these were really good. And that tends to be where these category nominees come from. If you are new to our channel, welcome. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming book reviews, tiered lists, live streams, and ridiculous debates like this will probably turn into. If you're returning, well, you already know the chaos you're walking into, and we're glad you're here. Now, before we jump in, let's be clear. These awards come with absolutely no cash prizes. None. Nada.
We don't.
$0. Not even a gift card.
Yeah, we don't have that in the budget.
They exist for only one reason, because Zach and I love shining more light, more joy, sometimes more side-eye, at the books that delighted, shocked, scared, or emotionally destroyed us this year. Yeah. So this is a pure celebration episode. We're going to have fun. And it's a great excuse to talk about the wild stuff that we read in 2025. These are the kind of episodes you put out when you get near the end of a calendar year. Shall we get into it, Zach?
Let's do it. Dive right in.
So here, official categories. I'm going to introduce each category, tell you what it really means, and then we'll both reveal our nominee, and we'll argue about it. We'll counter-argue. We'll defend our picks to the grave. But ultimately, we're going to try to crown one of the books.
Only one of
as
them?
the winner. Only one.
That's going to be so hard when we pick things neither of us have read the other.
We got to see what we can do.
So, quick warning, some of this may be a little spoilery, if only so that we give each other enough context to make a decision.
But there will be no full spoilers, so you'll probably be able to forget what we talked about when it comes to the details. Well, best character you wanted to punch is the first award. We're going to kick things off with a righteous fury. Which character made you clench your jaw, throw your hands up in the air, or shout at your audiobook like a lunatic in traffic? Zach, let's hear your nominee.
For my pick, I have to submit Zyman from the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks. This is a bit of a punk kid, but also an absolute ass in a lot of ways. Sometimes being a villain, sometimes kind of on the side of good, if good can be called. Very horrible in his treatment of other people, especially women, including his own mother. Just a lot of bad things, including oftentimes where it's like, oh, this is going to be someone's big moment. And it's like, actually, Zymon's going to be there to mess it all up and try to steal it for himself. And it's just, you cannot like this person. He is sociopathic. And if you do like him, not just
Red flag.
as a
Red
bad
flag.
character, but as you actually like him, I'm worried about you.
This is fascinating because my nominee has a lot of strikingly similar characteristics to what you put forward. I'm bringing Roland Croninger from Robert McCammon's Swan Song. Now that's been around a long time, 1987, but I just read it, so it's very fresh in my head. Roland, in this post-apocalyptic tale, starts out as just a teenager who is with his mom and dad in a bomb shelter, basically, when nuclear war happens. Everything goes downhill from there. He quickly shows you that he is a very, very unwell person. He has no problem with violence, no problem with turning his back on people that he used to be on the same side with. He really likes guns. He has no issue with demeaning women. He will do whatever it takes to get on top and to stay there. The things he does in this book, despicable. And while you start out maybe being just a little sympathetic for, he just got to do what he's got to do in the circumstance he's in, that feeling does not stick around very long. Because no, he's a very intelligent young man who uses that intelligence for all the wrong things. By the end of the story, you were like, oh, I hate this person so badly. You want to punch him. Of course, if you do, he'll kill you. So there's that.
Yeah.
So neither of us read these.
Neither of us have read each other's. I'll admit my ignorance here, and if I get destroyed in the comments, that's okay. I'd never heard of yours. Showing my age there, I think.
Perhaps. Swan Song was recommended to me because I love The Stand by Stephen King, and it has similar vibes to it. Someone was like, oh man, you love The Stand. Have you ever read Swan Song? I was like, never heard of it. Just like you said. So I did read it, and I'm like, okay, the vibes are there. Yeah, there's some similarities. To me, the story is not as good as The Stand, which is probably why you've never heard of it.
Fair enough.
But Roland Croninger is a heck of a character. So of everything I read this year, that's the one I'd most want to punch in the face. He's so deserving.
I'm going to give you a comparison and description for mine for Zymon here, and see if it makes you, just in this quick sentence, from something that I do know you have read, want to punch him in the face. Imagine Joffrey from Game of Thrones if he was as smart as Tywin Lannister.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to punch him yet?
Not as much as I want to punch Roland.
I think we're at an impasse of we haven't read each other's things.
I'm going to the minor spoiler range to help you understand about Roland so much. When Roland is in this end of the world shelter, there is a leader of that place. He's a colonel, a military hero from the Vietnam War. Again, this is 1987, so Vietnam War isn't so far back. It's just a decade in the past.
Okay.
But he's someone, this leader, he's a little past his prime now. He's like a retired colonel, though not an old man, but he was a POW for a while. So he has demons. Okay, he's got stuff going on. He gets trapped when the bombs happen, and Roland has to free him because his hand is stuck in a wall that opened and then closed.
Okay.
And Roland has to cut his arm off right there at the wrist. Okay. kind of enjoys it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the most innocent thing he does in the whole story. He ends up staying with that guy, building an army, and causing so much destruction, damage, and death all over the country. The colonel's in charge, but not really. It's all Roland. Oh, this guy is devastatingly deadly to people.
I cannot do the same thing back to you because I want you to read this series, and I know if I spoil anything, it will make that harder.
But with the description I gave, do you still feel your guy is on top of that?
I'm still at a point of where we can punch them both because I can't, off of that, put him above mine.
So we have to go with a tie. Wow. How about instead of a tie,
You want to flip a coin?
I got a coin.
All right, flip your coin. Heads
Col-
yours, tails mine.
Heads it is.
All right.
Roland Croninger.
Yours gets the award. Simon was robbed, but you know what? He deserves it.
A second category. Best monster who deserved a raise. Whether they were terrifying, loyal, misunderstood, or simply great at their job at terrifying people, this award is for the monsters who went above and beyond in 2025. What do you got for this one, Zach?
I cheated a little because I think I went outside of the spirit of this one to put something that I probably could have also put for the previous category as well. I included a person who is a monstrous human being, in my opinion.
Okay, all right.
And from a series that I know you will never read. This is from the Outlander series. I read books 4, 5, and I'm currently reading 6 this year.
Yeah, I will never read it. You're right. So spoil away, whatever you want.
So I put forward the monster known as Stephen Bonnet, a pirate, thief, rapist, and a slew of other things that, to a certain extent, just kind of terrorizes some of our main characters in a very human and real way to the 1700s.
Sometimes the greatest monsters are real people.
And this is just a certain level of, even when he's not on the page, the fact that he might still be alive and he's gonna be around at some point haunts all of the days that our characters want to try and live in happiness. And so I hate this guy, but he's right to be hated, and I think he's worth talking about as the monster he is.
Okay. I didn't read a lot of things that had genuine monsters, and I didn't want to just go with a person. I mean, there were certainly plenty of nasty people, but there was one standout monster, and it's from the same book that I just brought you something. Yeah, so The Man with the Scarlet Eye from Robert McCammon's Swan Song again. Similarly to The Stand, The Stand has Randall Flagg, who is not truly a person, but some sort of entity. That's the same deal with The Man with the Scarlet Eye. This is a potentially immortal being who looks like a person, but can transform to look like any person. Not only that, can take over the flesh of another person. I mean, that person's gone, and kind of is a skinwalker of sorts, but has all sorts of weird and dangerous supernatural powers, exudes a kind of a field of cold. When you're near this person, you feel cold, but his actual power is fire. So he can burn you up, but you're freezing while it's happening. It's just bizarre.
Strangely, not that crazy of a thing in my brain.
Okay.
Considering what burning alive theoretically feels like.
Oh, there you go. He's been involved throughout all of history with a lot of the most significant times where things went horribly wrong and lots of people died. But when World War III actually happens at the beginning of this book, he didn't have anything to do with it. He'd been just enjoying the deterioration of civilization, and kind of literally when it goes off, he's in a movie theater having popcorn, just enjoying the show. But then he gets to be involved in the aftermath, and oh man, what he does throughout all of that is terrifying and devastating, and he's all the worst things you want of a monster and more.
Now, I will just blanketly go with yours because you picked Not a Human, and I didn't. I admit my nomination maybe shouldn't have been in this category, but I put him here
But you
anyways.
got to give some hate to Stephen Bonnet, and there were people listening going, yeah, yeah.
Exactly. I do have to ask, I don't know what order things will release in, we just recorded something about our 5-star reads. Was this a 5-star read for you? Because it's got 2 awards already.
No, it's actually a 3-star read.
That's wild. 3-star read and 2 of awards?
Yep.
Starting to make me rethink, should I have let you have those awards?
Just because the story as a whole is only 3-star doesn't mean these individual characters didn't merit the awards. Okay, our third award.
Mm-hmm.
This is the best. Wait, what? Plot twist.
Yep.
The twist, we're thinking about twists that made you rewind the chapter when it was on Audible.
Yeah.
Or the twist that made you question the author's sanity. It's like, what the heck? Huh?
Yeah.
The twist that made you text your reading buddy immediately going, did you get to page 15?
Uh-huh.
So our contenders, let me go first this time.
Go for it. Please do.
I'm going to give you The Girl with All the Gifts by M.R. Carey, 2014. This book, the ending is insane and awesome. And that's after multiple plot twists throughout the book. But you get to the end and you're like, what? Yeah, that is not where you see this thing building towards. And yet when it happens, you're like, that's brilliant. Yes, that is exactly what should happen, but it's a twist. And yeah, you would not have seen that coming. So that's the one that hits it for me. Again, I'm not going to give you the plot twist because I do not want to ruin it.
Yeah,
for
that would
anyone who might
kind
wanna
of
read
ruin
it.
things.
But worthy. And if you've read this book, I think you'll agree.
For my nomination here, I'm going to include a book I've talked about before on the channel and will continue to talk about probably. This is James Islington's The Will of the Many. Specifically, the epilogue. It's not very long. There's an epilogue, and then there's a second epilogue. And between those 3 pages, it actively made me change my star rating of the book to higher. And immediately afterwards, I'm like, okay, everything just changed. The book ended, and I was happy with where it was, and I was excited for another book. Everything I thought book 2 was going to be is now fundamentally different. Book 2 has to be so much more different because of these epilogues. And I'm like immediately going, okay, when's this next book come out? Because of the epilogue.
All right, hearing that, I will give you this award because mine's not that level. And yeah, to hear how that kind of twist so transforms the entire way you see the book and even how you feel about the next
book going forward.
Yeah. We'll let yours win this one for sure. Next category, best audiobook narration.
I'm curious about this one. Lead us in. What are we looking for with an audiobook narration?
Well, from silky smooth storytelling to full cast performances to narrators who become the characters. This category honors the voices that elevated our 2025 listening experience. So let me go first.
Should we just say it at the same time? I think it's going to be the same thing.
Is it not? It's not, because I still haven't done those. The ones you're going to.
You're right. You're wrong. So you're right.
But I'm going to bring the same crew forward. Mine is Pilgrims by M.R. Leonard, 2024, which was narrated by Jeff Hayes and some of his team from Sound Booth Theater. Specifically, he did it with Justin Thomas James, Gary Furlong, and Annie Ellicott. Full immersive graphic audio experience for this novel. This is just a kind of a standalone thing. I think it's indie published, actually, but had the money to get Jeff Hayes and his crew to do it. And wow, it was so incredible. The book itself, Pilgrims, came out in 2024, right at the end of the year. It's very good. And it's one where it shifted the way I think about things. And And that was in part because of how well the narration delivered the story. The different characters, the places, and how sound was experienced because of where they're at and what's going on. And that's what you want by narration. You get totally lost in the story. Jeff Hayes, who's better these days? Come on.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of disagreement in our narration per se, because I'm also putting forward Jeff Hayes in Sound of Theater, but for Dungeon Crawler Carl. Anyone who has done these as audiobooks agrees you should do them as audiobooks. It's fantastic, it's phenomenal, it's immersive. They got Patrick freaking Warburton in as a guest star for part
But
of it.
not really. He's actually listed on Sound Booth Theater now as one of their narrators. He's just on the team now.
So it's just phenomenal. I think we can step back, you and I, and agree this award goes to Jeff Hayes and team.
Yes.
And we just read different things through audiobook format from them.
Yep, we'll agree on that. All right, here's a different category. This was hard for me to find. Which one do I want to go with? Best quote. Out of all the books, again, 95 books I've read so far this year, what was the best quote? And even after I've picked my best quote, I'm not sure it's the best quote. It's a great quote, but is it the best? I would have had to spend a lot more hours to be sure. But I feel good about what I've come up with. We're trying to come up with that one line that you underlined or highlighted or screenshot or slapped it onto a social media post with no context just because this. So, our favorites, Zach, it's your turn. What do you have for a quote?
I need 30 seconds, maybe.
All right. Well, I will dance around a little bit here because I'll share with everybody what I was tempted to go with. God damn it, Donut. Just for reaction. That is not my actual quote, but that happens a lot in Dungeon Crawler Carl, and to the point where he has to say it because he's being pressured to say it. Everyone wants to hear him say it again. So that's funny.
Notably, I panicked for a moment here as I looked and went, I was sent a list of these categories, fantastic categories to include. This one was only 2 words because it was best quote, and I missed it. So I had to struggle immediately and go, crap, what quote? But I did have a couple that immediately sprung to mind. So I just had to look it up to confirm I get the wording correct, because since it is a quote. This appears many times in some books that I read this year and completed the full series of. This comes from The Realm of the Elderlings, spoken by the Fool, but also in other places, other characters, sometimes kind of their own, but often because it was heard by one person and carried into another. It is pivotal to some of the characterization and things, but it's not necessarily crazy or profound.
Okay.
And it's don't do what you can't undo until you've considered what you can't undo once you've done it. And it is a subtle little line and piece of advice that actively changes some minor decisions here and there and shapes the future in profound ways.
Sure. Don't do what you can't undo until you consider the ramifications of what will happen.
Considered what you can't undo once you've done it.
Yeah. No, good advice. So for mine, we're both going in serious ways, and this is, in general, I think the quotes that will hit the most. There are profound statements about life, about interactions with others, relationships and stuff that we find in these books, regardless of whether it's a slasher-based horror book or an epic fantasy on a fantastical world. We find things we can relate to. And that's what I'm bringing. Mine's coming from sci-fi, though. From Artificial Condition, the 2018 second novella in Martha Wells' The Murderbot Diaries, where the primary character says, sometimes people do things to you that you can't do anything about. You have to survive it and go on. I value what it says about grit and resilience. There's no point just being a victim. Oh me, oh my, let others' actions control you and drag your world down. You can't control what other people are going to say, what they're going to do. The only thing you control is what you decide to do about it. And that's what this speaks to. Are you going to let other people stop you? Heck no. Survive it, go on.
What I do like about that quote is that it doesn't imply that you can't be the victim, that you can't get hit down, that you can't let yourself suffer. No, people will do things that
Yep.
are out of your control,
Bad things are going to
and
happen.
it will suck for you, and you can be in a bad situation because of that. You can grieve, you can suffer, you can be the victim, but you got to survive and move forward.
Exactly. All right, then, let's go on to number 6. We're halfway through these awards. This one is the Couldn't Put It Down, Forgot to Eat award. You know the book. You planned on reading for 20 minutes. Suddenly it's 3 hours later, and you're dehydrated and vaguely ashamed. On the flip side of that, sometimes for me, it's the one where I've been reading so long, I finally put it down and get up, and oh my goodness, I got to use the bathroom. Because while I was sitting in place, the bladder wasn't triggered, but I've been there way too long. What grabbed you this year for this category, Zach?
For me, it's a little bit of not quite the experience you described, but rather I found a way to keep having tasks that I was active and moving around and doing something, so I could keep having my earbuds in and keep listening because I just wanted to keep binging through these books.
Sure.
For me, I put the Murderbot Diaries on here.
Nice.
I felt like this was something that they were relatively short to get through, at least initially, but it was also a just compelling, okay, let's keep going, keep going. And so it just one after another, after another. And I probably spent more time the week that I read like the entire series with my earbuds in than out while I was awake.
I can see that. That's a worthy submission. For me, Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 7, This Inevitable Ruin, by Matt Dinneman. Obviously, the whole series was so bingeable and enjoyable, but Book 7 amps it up. I've talked about that on a previous episode. It gets to such a level that you just gotta keep going. I believe I read that book in an amazingly short amount of time. And I did not do it on audio. I'm actually reading these. I'm going to go back and do them on audio now because that's what everyone says. And we have another episode just talking about the differences between audio and reading. They're thoroughly enjoyable when you read it. But Jeff Hayes and crew, next level, I'm going to have to check that out.
This did almost make my list instead of the Murderbot Diaries. The only reason I did pick the Murderbot Diaries over it is because my currently needing to try and get through a different book before it has to get sent back to a library stopped my binging of Dungeon Crawler Carl. So if I was willing to stop binging to go finish something else, even with the external factor of a library return, it wasn't quite the same binge. That's not entirely fair just because of how long or short books are.
We are controlled by libraries, though.
But there was a certain element to that.
When we can read or listen for free, I mean, it's our tax money that funds libraries. It does adjust. The book I'm listening to right now is right in the dead center here. Another Stephen Graham Jones one, The Babysitter Lives. And I had a hold on it, and it finally came up. So, time to do it.
Oh. And this was one that I had already returned at one point and then got back because it was just a 55-hour audiobook. And it had been sitting waiting while I was getting through finishing The Realm of the Elderlings the first time. So I tried to get through 55 hours in 4 days. That wasn't going to work.
Well, you just do it at 2.0.
No, even doing it at my 1.75 that I do, it's not going to work. I need to sleep and work.
I suppose. All right. I don't think we could really go wrong with either one of these.
I think we're good either way, yeah.
So we flip a coin again.
All right, but if you flip heads again, we know it's rigged.
So heads is for me again. Ooh, that was a good flip. And tails.
All right, Martha Wells, you get another award here for your Murderbot Diaries.
Category 7. Best Supporting Character Who Stole the Entire Show. So we're looking for the side character who actually outshone the protagonist. The scene stealer. The where's their spinoff pick. I'll start this
Go
time.
for it. Please
did
do.
I start last time?
I don't know. You should start this one.
I'll start this time. This was an easy one for me. Art. From multiple books of the Murderbot Diaries. Art is such an enjoyable character. Art is another artificial intelligence, but that's not what the art stands for. Art stands for Awesome
Asshole
Research
research
Transport.
transport.
Now, there's actually a different word for the A, but we're not going to say that on
No,
here.
I said the other.
You said awful.
No, I said asshole.
Oh, you did say it. Oh, I wasn't going to say the word, but there you go. But it's in an affectionate manner eventually. Not at first.
Yeah. Art was actually like my second place. So I'm good before I even say what mine is. Ultimately giving the award to you. Because art got the second place for me.
Art is a hoot. And I wouldn't be surprised to see stories with art as the primary character in the future. Would not be surprised.
My actual pick, though, was from something that you haven't really read a whole lot of, so you couldn't weigh in, but it's a surprise to no one. I went to the Realm of the Elderlings, Night Eyes. I did not read the original trilogy this year. I don't think I even read Live Ship Traders this year. I read Tawny Man, Rain Wild Chronicles, and the Fitz and the Fool trilogy. That's still 10 books this year that were in this series. Night Eyes may not be a super prominent character through all of them. But when he is there, whether he's actually fully there or you're confused about whether he's there or not later on, or the roles in which he plays is so fantastic that I often feel like the Realm of the Elderlings often gets talked about. The Fitz and the Fool really as your duo, your dynamic duo, your pairing, you're going forward. This is your thing. And that I feel like is Night Eye's erasure. He stands above the rest, and he's a good boy. He's a wolf. He's a dog.
You do have a place in your heart for a good boy.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Mine's right here, by the way.
Yeah. Yep. Again, that tail, every now and then we see entering the screen.
But we will give it to art for the actual award.
All right. Category 8 of 10 is the I Need Therapy Now Emotional Devastation Award. The books that made us cry, that broke us, that made us stare at the wall afterward and reconsider our life choices. We're talking emotional pain. Now, I say this just in generality because I do not cry over books, but I can be emotionally moved.
You can admit it if you do.
But I don't. Zach, go ahead and give us yours first on this one.
I took the I Need Therapy part of this award kind of literally. This was not necessarily emotionally devastating, but it was something that filled with existential dread and definitely needed okay, I need to sit and think, process, rationalize, and maybe look at some YouTube videos that debunk certain things just so that I feel okay with my existence in the universe again.
All right.
And this was the Three Body Problem, the series.
Specifically,
this whole concept around the Dark Forest and beyond it, and the consequences far-reaching of the series. There's a certain level of like realism, but also making you feel like a small, insignificant piece of a universe that doesn't care about your existence. That I thought was masterfully done, but was also something that was like, this is a little unsettling.
Can we
how well it was talked about and done?
Can we call those satellites back? Not satellites, but
yeah. It's not always something. It's something I've totally thought about before, but the way that this made me think about it was something where I was like, do I need to talk to people and think this through and reground myself in being okay?
I get you. Yeah, no, that's a good one. I know exactly what you mean. Some people do not get into that trilogy. They just can't connect with it. But I thought the themes, the points it's making were fantastic.
It's definitely a weird read to get into. It takes a certain level of attention and dedication to want to read it.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. I think it is very rewarding of a read.
Right. Well, mine is actually going to a book I've already mentioned earlier, and it's Pilgrims, again by M.R. Leonard, the 2024 release. This is a book that's about first contact in a really bizarre way, and I can tell you enough without spoiling here. This is like you'd find on the jacket of the cover. What if aliens came to Earth? We see them coming. When they finally get there, they reach out in Latin.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out they're Roman Catholic. What the heck? That's the premise. And of course, who do they want to talk to? They want to talk to the Pope. It's like,
Of course.
what? Whoa, hey. But this story, it has in it an element near the end where you get to see someone who understands such depth to caring for others to a degree that they're willing to sacrifice at great cost to themselves to do what's right, even though it will not be good for them, which people don't do very often.
No.
And to see it really, I'm a Christian, and that's something that's embedded in our faith that we're supposed to be willing to put others before ourselves. But how far are we willing to go on that? And not many people are willing to go as far as you really should be willing to go if you truly believe what you believe. And this book just powerfully demonstrates what that could really be, to a degree that I was like, whoa, I need to think about this. And I don't find books like that very often, where generally reevaluating how I look at the world, how I conduct myself. So that hit, that's emotional, that's impactful. That was something.
I think it's kind of fun. We both picked alien books for this.
They're just another way to convey real truths.
So what do you think?
So, who gets the award? Do we have to flip a coin again?
We could flip a coin. I only lean towards an argue mine because we have both read it. I have not read Pilgrims yet.
So you do have a good point. We've both read The Three-Body Problem, and I do concur with the points you were making there. But the feeling I got from emotional devastation, I didn't get that in Three-Body Problem. That was more analytical.
Mhm.
Oh, crap. Whoa, what if? Ooh.
And I
Whereas,
think there is a certain level of difference of opinion on what this category should be. Do you only need therapy for emotional devastation? But if we include the full tagline of it being emotionally devastating, these are categories you came up with and gave to me. It's a fair thing to say you probably fit the category better than I did.
since I make it the categories, I win the award.
It's a little bit of a rigged game like that, yeah. But I
Thanks.
win the fans
Yeah.
award. Really, they look at it and they no, that's probably not true. I'm probably getting ripped apart in the comments too. But that's part of the fun.
Yeah, thanks for deferring to dear old dad, though. And we're still getting
Fine.
to talk about two different great books, and
Look, I
that's
have to
what we're
do
here
something to throw a bone to my elders.
for. Number 9, best world building flex. So we're talking about, from the books we read, what was the most impressive, intricate, or wildly ambitious world invented or expanded this year? Whether it was magic, technology, the
Mhm.
lore, the history, the cosmic weirdness, whatever your mind went to, this category honors the imagination of the author. So we're thinking of a book or a series, that you read this year where the world building is just, are you kidding? Wow.
So I'll go first.
Yes.
I should put forth the Realm of the Elderlings. It's one of those big series known for its great world building. It's there. I'm not, partially because I've
Okay.
already used it, and I don't. I
There
can
was
share the
no
love.
rule against that,
There's
but
not, but I can share the love. I've read more things. I've read enough. So instead, I'm going to put forth something that I think you'll appreciate because I read it more or less off of a recommendation from you. This would be Mark Lawrence's Book of the Ancestor.
ah,
Uh, Red Sister, Gray Sister, Holy Sister. Separate world from ours, very unique conceptually.
mhm,
Equal parts, a little bit sci-fi, a little bit of fantasy.
yep,
Definitely warrior nuns, but also feudal society, but also nomadic tribes and things.
mhm,
And also you bring in, hey, mystical ability in the blood that maybe is also tied to other things and origins. And is this actually magic? Does it matter if it's not magic? It was very interesting and I thought original with the way it used the concepts that it did.
sure,
In some cases, something like a warrior nun society, Not the most original thing, but the way in which it implemented it and then actually built upon that, I thought was very unique.
I like it. That is a very worthy submission here, and maybe will be our winning one. For me, I'm bringing one I talked about in a recent episode, the Newsflesh trilogy by Mira Grant, 2010 to 2012, where she weaves the zombie apocalypse into our modern world, but jumping ahead 20 years into the future, showing in such imaginative and creative ways what society would be like if we survived the zombie apocalypse and learned to live with it, because the virus is still there. Zombies are still out there. Anyone can still become one. How does life go on?
Mm-hmm.
And it does. It does brilliantly in what she's written, with all the good and all the bad of modern society woven in. To be able to think of everything she did is incredible. And this does not involve any magic. This is, sci-fi and a dystopian version of our world. And so she's taken what we know about technology and how things work and society and how it's interwoven, the media, politics, policing, all these things, and figured out, how does the ZA transform this? How do we still function?
Mm-hmm.
What would we have to do? What would we get used to in order to still be a culture, a society that can thrive? It was brilliantly done. And it's laid out in such a way where you're like, holy crap, this could happen. This would all work. This could really be a thing. And so while it's not so far out there, making stuff out of nothing, nobody does that. When you're describing the Book of the Ancestor, you talked about feudal society, things, nomadic tribes.
For
Mark
sure.
Lawrence does a marvelous job pulling things from what we do know from history, and now let's apply it in some new, cool ways in this different world. And that's what a lot of world building is. Mira Grant is taking what is right now and transforming it into something that could be now very creatively. So that's why this gets the best world building flex from me.
I think it's a worthy entry. It's definitely a creative spin on the prompt. Very a la me, how I usually put nominees into here. But if we go to the spirit of the prompt and world building, really creating something new and immersing us in creating it, I think mine wins.
I will defer. I think mine is very worthy.
I think it's fair.
I do also love yours. It was a great pick. So let's go with yours for this one. And our final award, the I Can't Believe That Worked Genre Mashup Award. Sometimes an author takes two genres and puts them together in a way that really shouldn't blend, but somehow creates glorious perfection on the page. This celebrates the weirdest stuff that paid off in 2025. Genre mashups that, what the heck, but I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead first, Zach. What do you have?
I am going to one we've talked about before. It maybe gets a little bit of recency bias for us, but it's something that I always thought of it as fantasy when I was hearing about it, and then I started reading it, and within about the first quarter of the first book, I went, no, this is sci-fi. But it's fantasy themed. It's fantasy coded sci-fi. This is Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Denning.
Yes.
The series as a whole. This is the ultimate mashup in even a subgenre in that it is lit RPG.
Right.
So you're getting multiple hits of different things. You get your fun pop culture references. Sometimes shamelessly.
Dungeon.
You get your dungeons, your space, your aliens. You get reality TV.
There's so much in here.
There's a lot of different mismatch in here that's kind of a mess, but that's part of what makes it great.
A very worthy entry. I have two entries, but only one that I'll put forward as my official nomination, because I didn't say you could do more than one. It's just I had to talk about two here. My official entry is Peter Cline's X Heroes series. 5 books from 2010 to 2016. I read them all this year. This is a mashup of the superhero genre with the zombie apocalypse.
Mm.
And so you might say, well, didn't Marvel do that? Marvel Zombies is a thing. Did you watch that,
Hmm.
by the way?
I watched the What If episode that was Marvel Zombies. I did not go on to watch Marvel
Marvel
Zombies.
Zombies was better than the What If version. It really went some nice places, but it's all based on actual comics, and I've read them all, and they're
Yeah.
great. But this is very different. And so we've got a world with superheroes where the zombie apocalypse comes out, and how do they mash up, and how does it help, and what works? And there's great stories told in here. And I really enjoyed this post-apocalyptic dystopian tale with superheroes trying to help make the best of things with a zombie apocalypse. And what's even more awesome is one of the eventual superheroes is kind of a zombie. Kind of. You'll have to read it if you want to discover what that's about. It's so fun. My only disappointment with this series is there's 5 books, and then the author just stopped writing those books. He's gone
Mm.
on to write other things. The series doesn't really end. It doesn't leave you on a cliffhanger. It's just, there's more you could have told here. And he just hasn't. So he might go back someday. But it's
Maybe,
been
maybe
9
not.
years now. But my other one that I want to give a little love to is the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones.
Mm.
Most people wouldn't think of this as a genre mashup, and that's where they're wrong, and I need to give it a little highlighting because it's a horror trilogy.
Yeah.
Not really. It's a horror trilogy as the foundation of it because basic premise is characters in the midst of a slasher film coming to life. But if that's where you stop, you've totally missed the point. This is a mystery. It is a thriller. It is a series that explores some really deep things: generational trauma, cycles of violence and vengeance, colonialism, capitalism, the clash of old ways and new ways. I mean, there's so much to this that you don't find in horror. That is not normal. So, if I'm just going to say genres, it's mystery, thriller, and horror all mashed together. And sometimes those can work together. But the extra themes that he packs in, I'm like, are you kidding me? There's so much here.
You know what's the wild thing for me? I don't think of that as that much of a mashup, simply because for me, that's a description of horror I might actually enjoy. Because a lot of things that are just classified as horror, I'm not a huge fan of. But when it's got good suspenseful elements, or it makes you think more critically and deeper, or it's wrapped up in a mystery and this other just like fiction tale, it's something that I can really enjoy. And I think that
And,
encapsulates
and I
my
think you will.
ideal horror.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's less to me that it's a mashup and more, no, that's just the part of horror that's really good.
Maybe I just wanted to talk about this one some more. But again, it's not my actual pick moving forward because my other one is
True. True.
stronger as a genre mashup.
What would you give it to?
Well, we'll go with Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Okay, okay. I thought maybe recency bias, but you might be there with me.
No, that's a beautiful matchup of fantasy, sci-fi. I mean, aliens invade, and let's make a fantasy dungeon to crawl through. I mean, come on. There's so much there they have fun with. Yeah, we'll give it to yours.
Woo.
So, that, my friends, concludes the 2025 Fantasy for the Ages Father Son SFFH Awards.
You just really wanted to make some acronym that you can put on the screen that's got like 17 Fs.
That's it. Somehow, maybe that. So I came up with the Sassies, but that's not working. But it's there anyways for now until you give us a better name for these awards.
Please
But
do. I can't do another year of these being called the Sassies.
nevertheless, it was a fun celebration of everything that made our reading year weird, wild, wonderful, occasionally emotionally scarring or troubling. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell. Don't want you to miss our future episodes, lists, debates, and stuff.
And please engage, hop in the comments.
Oh,
Let us
yes.
know what your awards would be this year based upon what you've read, because it's going to be different than ours. Not even because you disagree, but because you read different things than we did.
Yeah, add things for the categories that we came up with. And if you want to say that, in one that we gave the award to Zach, but it should have gone to my book, definitely tell us that too.
or the other way around, you know.
Nah, we don't need that comment. That's okay. Thanks for watching. Now, go forth and read well, read widely. May your 2026 TBR be both ambitious and slightly terrifying, like ours. We'll talk to you next time.